If you're having trouble understanding something in math, it might not be you. Sometimes we're taught things in math class that are meant to help us solve a particular problem or do a particular process, but that in actual fact end up being harmful to our understanding of mathematics. And just as an example, I'm going to share with you a particularly egregious example that I once heard. I had a student who came to see me one time and they said, I'm having a lot of trouble simplifying radicals. I really can't get the hang of it. So I naturally asked them, well, how have you been taught to simplify radicals? And they said to me, well, by escaping radical prison. I said, come again? They said, yeah, escaping radical prison. And I said, let's pretend I don't know and humor me, explain this to me. So he said, oh, well, it's very simple. Here's what we do. So let's say I'm taking the square root of 12. So first I'm going to do a prime factorization of 12, break it up into its prime factors. So we know that that is 2 times 2 times 3. So far I'm with him. Yeah, that makes sense. And he says, so then what we do is we say that all of these numbers, the radical symbol is like a prison, and these numbers are trapped inside the prison. And what happens is the two 2's are trying to escape the prison. So what happens is one of the 2's gets on the back of the other 2, and then he jumps out in front. But there's a tower guard over here that sees the prisoners escaping, so he shoots the other 2 that's inside the radical, and so you end up with 2 root 3. So when I stopped laughing, I explained to the student, look, this is a horrible way to think about this problem. I mean, it doesn't even make any sense. To start with, if you're the prison guard, do you shoot the prisoner who's still in the prison yard or the one who's escaping? Of course, the prison guard would shoot the 2 that's escaping, and what would be left inside would be square root of 6. Or we would say, no, the 3 is the more powerful prisoner, right? So when the 2 tries to escape, the 3 pushes him out of the way, the 3 tries to get over the wall, the 3 gets shot, and now we have the square root of 4, which is 2. And I can come up with 5 or 6 different other ways to do this problem that make more sense than the one that was given. The problem here, of course, is that the example makes no sense. It's just designed to get you to an answer in a particular way that only works in the example it's given for. Now, the truth is that in actuality, it's much simpler just to say, look, if you've got the square root of 2 times 2 times 3, that's the same as the square root of 2 times 2, square root of 4, times the square root of 3. The square root of 4 is 2, so that's just 2 root 3. In other words, math itself is far, far simpler than any story or situation you can come up with to try and explain it. So one recommendation I'd like to give you is sometimes when you're trying to understand something and you're having trouble understanding it, it may be because there's some meta information, there's some extra story that isn't essential to what you're trying to do. And if you just break it down to the simple processes of math, you'll find that that is inevitably much simpler and easier to understand. For more on this, please check out my video on the rules of algebra.